You're not too much. You're not too sensitive. You're not too quiet. You're not too intense. Maybe you're simply noticing things that most people don't notice. And that's exactly why you can feel lonely, even when you're surrounded by people. You're sitting in a meeting, and while everyone is focused on what was said, you're noticing the tone behind it. A friend tells you a story, and somehow you immediately sense there's something deeper underneath. You ask one simple question, and suddenly the entire room becomes uncomfortable. For years, people may have given you labels. You're distracted. You're overthinking. You analyze everything. Why can't you just relax? But what if the problem was never that something was wrong with you? What if your mind was simply processing more information than the people around you? Sometimes intelligent people experience the world differently. They notice patterns. They question assumptions. They connect ideas that other people don't even see as related. And when your mind constantly operates beneath the surface, ordinary conversations can start to feel exhausting. That's where the loneliness begins. First, you become quiet when everyone else gets loud. When other people react emotionally, you observe. You listen to their words. You notice their tone. You watch their expressions. You notice contradictions. You think about what they aren't saying. People may interpret your silence as insecurity, but sometimes silence isn't weakness. Sometimes it's what happens when your brain is processing everything at once. Second, you explain yourself and still feel misunderstood. So you simplify your thoughts. You choose easier words. You leave out details. You try to explain the idea from another angle. And somehow, the person still doesn't understand what you're trying to say. Eventually, you stop explaining. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you're tired of translating your thoughts into something smaller. Third, small talk can exhaust you. You can spend 2 hours talking about life, psychology, dreams, ideas, or something you're genuinely curious about, and walk away feeling energized. But 10 minutes of meaningless conversation can leave you completely drained. That doesn't automatically mean you're antisocial. It may simply mean your mind is searching for meaning. You don't necessarily want more conversations. You want better conversations. Fourth, you notice patterns before other people do. You can sometimes sense when a friendship is changing before anyone admits it. You notice when someone's behavior doesn't match their words. You recognize repeated patterns in arguments. You can often predict where a conversation is going because you've seen the same pattern before. Of course, being intelligent doesn't mean you're always right. But strong pattern recognition can make you notice things earlier than the people around you. And sometimes, seeing what's coming doesn't feel like a gift. It feels exhausting because you can't always unsee what you've noticed. Fifth, you can feel lonely even when you're surrounded by people. And this may be the hardest one. You can have friends. You can be loved. You can be invited. You can laugh with everyone and still feel like nobody truly sees you. Because being included isn't the same as being understood. Being liked isn't the same as being known. And attention isn't the same as connection. What many deep thinkers actually crave isn't more attention. It's resonance. Someone who understands the way your mind works. Someone you don't have to constantly explain yourself to. Someone who doesn't make you feel strange for asking deeper questions. So if you've ever wondered why connection feels difficult, why you sometimes become quieter around certain people, why you feel like you have to hide parts of yourself just to fit in, remember this. You don't have to make yourself smaller to make other people comfortable. You don't have to apologize for noticing things. You don't have to pretend you're less curious, less emotional, less thoughtful, or less intense than you really are. But there's something equally important to remember. Being intelligent doesn't make you better than everyone else. And being different doesn't mean everyone else is shallow. People simply experience the world differently. Your goal isn't to be understood by everyone. That's impossible. Your goal is to find the people with whom you don't have to constantly translate yourself. Maybe that's 2 people. Maybe it's 3. Maybe it's only 1. But when you find those people, something changes. You stop performing. You stop filtering every sentence. You stop wondering whether you're too much. You can finally relax. Because the right people don't make you feel like a problem that needs fixing. They make you feel understood. So don't confuse loneliness with being unworthy of connection. Sometimes loneliness is simply a sign that the connections around you aren't giving you what you actually need. You don't need hundreds of people. You need a few people who can meet you where your mind naturally goes. Because you're not too much. You're not broken. And you're not required to shrink yourself just to fit into a room that was never designed for you. Find your people. Find your frequency. And when you finally do, you may realize that you were never too much. You were simply trying to be understood in the wrong rooms. If this felt like someone finally put your thoughts into words, follow along. Because there are a lot more conversations we need to have.